and welcome to Soulfully Guided. I'm your host, Carmel-Anne. Today I was going to talk about intuition. I felt that we've gone from 2 weeks ago speaking about grounding and protection. Then last week we spoke about raising our vibration. So being in a really good place with that protection, that clearing, then that raising, high vibe place to be. And then today was going to be about intuition, when you're at a really good place and then opening up your intuition and going inward to trust it. I've decided to talk about intuition next week, so please do tune in if you want to hear about some techniques and little tricks and things that helped me open up my intuition. But last week we had a very wonderful and courageous caller that came in with a very heartfelt topic, and I don't want to directly talk about suicide. I want to look at mental anguish, mental exhaustion, and mental troubles. I struggled. I will share my own story. I don't want to tell people how they feel or how they should feel or what they should do. We all share our own journey, but I guess I'm offering some tips. In 2011, something happened that triggered for me a lot of it was the final straw basically on what I could take and what I could handle. And thereafter I had some struggles, and lots of people will feel that in their life. I can't say I ever got to the point of feeling suicidal. I wished I wasn't born. So I understand from my side of things how it can be in a really dark place and a challenging place. And I want to share with you today something I wrote. I wrote this. It's basically, as you can see, if you can see that, that's my original. I woke up and wrote this. At the first of my darkest times, I saw I dreamt of someone and then I saw them in spirit form. At the time, I wasn't spiritual. It had been the second person I'd seen like that. And I didn't know they'd passed away till maybe 5 or 6 years later. And this piece of paper, no matter how many times, with the poem I wrote, no matter how many times I've lost it, forgotten about it, moved houses, it always shows up. And this is about someone I never had the chance to tell I love them, but I'm sure they would have known in my actions. And just an idea of how dark it can get. And I don't know my poem off by heart, but I wrote it once and never memorized it or anything. And I'll share it with you. So how is it? In the moment, I felt my sanity slip out of my control. I dreamt of you. I dreamt of you in need. Yet as I reached out my hand to save you, you were lost in a black shadow, lost into a nothingness. And whilst I could still hear you yelling, help me, still I could not see you or find you. Not one single word did I say. Not one single word, but still I tried to help. Overwhelmed in my dream by the darkness that surrounded me, you slipped away, never to be found. Yet as I awoke ever so slowly, I realized in reality it was I who needed help. Yet just as my dream, I did not talk. I was lost in a black silence, a feeling of nothingness. So that was the start of a really dark place for me. And on one spectrum, I was having trouble, but I was also connecting to someone very special to me that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, in a way I wasn't familiar with back then, in a spiritual way. And I was not only connected to their pain, but also my own. And it was what I wanted to touch on today is I'd like to prepare something to say, but today it's really off from the heart, so I hope I don't babble on too much. But, there's a big, big difference between mental exhaustion and mental struggles and physical exhaustion. It is a lot harder to recover from mental exhaustion, and often it's a lot harder to see. We have wounds that are physical and can be seen on the surface, but the trauma and the mental trauma that goes with those, whether they're visible these traumas or these feelings and these experiences that we have, the deepest cut is the ones you can't see. And for anyone who's struggling, you will know no one's a mind reader, as we know for ourselves. No one is a mind reader, and there is help out there. And for me, I can't believe, life is not perfect. But I love it. And to think where I was 10 years ago, where I was in such a bad place that I wished every day I wasn't born, that, I self-medicated, not to enjoy feeling self-medicated, but to numb the pain, to forget. So when we're struggling mentally, I've actually put on 40 to 50 kilos, so you can see it in my body weight, which I'm very uncomfortable. So now that I've got my mind healthier, my heart healthier, my life better, I can now focus on my physical health. But mental exhaustion is so hard to recover from. There's triggers, and it's not linear. It's some days are good, some days are bad. It's nothing that you can say there's a cure for. But I invite people who are struggling to please see someone, find a support, whether it's someone in your family that can help you, but also understand that there is help out there, whether it's holistically. I do also recommend doctors and medical professions, not someone that can read page 74 of the DSM-5 or the diagnostic criteria, like someone that's not going to recite a textbook to you, someone that's lived. If you're having struggles with drugs or substance abuse, why not see someone that's walked that walk and that understands from their heart? If you do seek help and you find that that person's not suitable for you, you're seeing a professional. It's not personal if they're not a good fit for you. Make sure you do find someone that's a great fit for you when seeking help, because in reality, our family members are not professionals, and whilst they can be there for you and support you and hold you up, they can't. We don't have the professional expertise that people have actually qualified in and have that life experience and that educational experience. So I invite you, before think of anything drastic, to just take these baby steps today, not putting too much pressure on yourself, and to do little tiny things today. It might seem, it might be so insignificant, but in the future, what you're doing is you're building that bridge to that challenging place where we are now to something that can be a lot easier and pleasant and digestible in the future, and a better place to be. I would never have imagined I'd be in this place 10 years ago. For me, it was finding love. I'm not saying that finding love cured all my problems. I'm saying finding love for me, which I lacked all my life, gave me the strength to see a better life and to want to achieve that. So finding things that really give you value and remind you of your meaning of life. I also have a little tip, because sometimes, whether it's a PTSD thing or something from my childhood, and which my struggles went into adulthood, I actually use a safe word. The only person who knows that safe word is my husband. And if I'm in a public place and something is making me uncomfortable and I don't want to say it out loud, or if, even at home, without having to explain, I'm feeling this way, it's just I say my safe word and instantly he knows and backs off or gets me out of a situation politely without anyone being offended or knowing what's going on. It's my safety and my safety net to ensure that my mental health and my well-being is foremost. And it's a really good idea to have, rather than feeling you have to explain yourself to everyone. And if, it is nice to speak up, but to those you choose to and you're comfortable with, not because you have to. I want you to know it takes time to heal. I don't know what could be going on in someone's mind and in their hearts, but, if anyone is struggling, please do find someone that they confide in a professional setting and a personal setting, and understand that you are so amazing. And yeah, like Raven last week, I would have asked for her son's name if we were in a private reading, but seeing we're in a public setting, I respected that. So, Raven, thank you for allowing me to read for you and your son last week. But, her son had passed away to suicide, but at the same time still was an organ donor and saved so many other lives. So, was very touching, and just to think how wonderful someone is, and if only they could have seen themselves through the eyes of their loved ones. And I'm asking you to do that if anyone's struggling, and to and to try and find that bridge and take these baby steps that'll make life a bit more pleasant. And sometimes that means taking medication. That's we're quick to self-medicate, and sometimes we're quick to dismiss, a long-term medication that's been out to help us. So please find your grounding and your fit and what works for you. Think twice before you give up on you. And this is a topic I don't speak openly enough about, and I think awareness is very important. I don't know exactly what, I didn't see myself getting better in these last 10 years. And there were struggles in between, and there were challenges and breakdowns. I didn't see myself going upward and above, but I saw like things up and down and up and down. And before you knew it, one day I woke up and I felt in a really good place. And I realized that it wasn't just today or that day, it was for a while. So I really just want to say, hang in there, and please find your tribe and your people and your support services. So I'm going to have to go today. Our show's come to an end. But if anyone needs help, please do reach out. Thank you, Raven, for last week as well. Thank you, everyone. And I'll also see you next week for a segment about intuition. Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.